Hello, everyone. Again, this is a weekly live stream. Action QA weekly live stream. Answer questions about testing. So you can just feel free to go over here to the live chat in YouTube, ask a question. I usually answer some questions from students. This week I don't really have any questions from students, at least none I can easily answer here. So I might just play around and play with page objects and just show that off for you and just give you a quick tutorial on page objects. I seem to get a few questions on page objects as well as custom commands, so I might jump into that a little bit today. Before I get started, I got to do the obligatory thing here. So let me switch over to the desktop. Please go to my website, actionqa.com. Over here on the right, there's a little subscribe area. Sign up for my email list. I give out promotions for my Udemy courses, and like give notifications for new tutorial videos. I got a new one out this week, so check out that new tutorial video, like little sneak peeks of stuff for free from that will eventually be on a paid Udemy course, so it's worth getting in the loop on that. And yeah, just getting notifications in general. And it's a new newsletter. I've only sent out a couple of things, so I'd love to hear your feedback, how I can make it better, make it more useful for you, make it like a learning resource eventually in the future. But yeah, please sign up here, and yeah, let's get started and start doing some page objects with Nightwatch. Let me go over here. Sorry, I just got this new weird green screen background, and let me switch over here while I talk and get ready. It's got this new green screen background, and I got a new little microphone stand thing, and I got these little sound baffles, and I thought it would be really cool, but it turns out to have been like a kind of a little bit of a nightmare to set up. Like everything is going wrong with like the green not showing up right and me getting the green screen stuff to work. I just hung up all the little sound baffles, and now they're all falling off my wall because I use this putty instead of tape. So I'm just watching them fall off the wall to ruin it. So now it feels like I'm trying to get rid of the boxy sound of this. So I'm just sharing with you. You can't see it because my camera is set up right here, but inside I'm having a comical moment. It's I wish you could see what's happening through my eyes. But all right, enough of my problems. Let's get into some coding here. And cool, switch back to the desktop. Let's fire up Visual Code. And is this stuff for tests, or is it my... Nah. You get... Yeah, I think it's this one. Cool. Here's kind of like the growing project I've been using for code here. It's ever-growing thing here. All right, let's see. I think I'm going to go to so for the page objects, so let me show you a couple resources here so you know what I'm talking about. Go over and pull up a website for you. Let me go to the Nightwatch website. Go over here to Developer Guide on the Nightwatch.js.org website. And down here you'll see something called Working with Page Objects. There we go. So this gives you all the information of using page objects. Not all the information, but it gives you the higher level overview and doing custom commands for page objects. And there's a little bit more information under this API reference. You go over to page object down here under API reference, and it gives you a lot more information here, which is useful. Helps give you some more cool little details you don't see on that other page. So between those two pages, you can get pretty much everything you need to work with page objects. But it doesn't really explain what page objects are. So basically, let's pull up the site we're going to be working with today. I'm going to go to blacklivesmatter.com. So a page object is a way of encapsulating information of a page or part of a page or a reusable element. So instead of always going browser.click, browser.do this, and you have to type in the full CSS selector every time, page object gives you a way of giving shortcuts, giving easily named things. So like instead of going here to this form and say it was some weird CSS selector like div /div/span/form that you know, just all these long CSS selectors or XPaths or whatever, you can actually just kind of alias that in a page object and go at my sign up form or whatever you want to call it, and you can reference that like browser.click at my sign up form. And you can also create cool little things like fill out form. And so instead of doing all that stuff yourself, like set value first name, set value last name, set value, you can just go fill out form, and you just pass a little function that has all the information to fill out a form. So it becomes a reusable thing that you can use in your tests. So let's jump into it. Let's start with a high level thing and say, all right, this home page right here, say Black Lives Matter homepage. Let's go for that. And just see how that would look and maybe get a couple elements here. I think what eventually I'd like to do is like break out this header into its own reusable page object. And the reason being is like you click on something else, the header is still there, it doesn't change, but the page underneath does. So we could create just one page object for the header, and then each of these different pages right here can be different page objects as well. It's like, oh, this could be its own page object, and go over here and see here's another sign up form again. So you could probably reuse the sign up form. It could be its own thing. So you go to the home page, sign up form. Looks like it's exactly the same as this global actions sign up form right here. So you could reuse that same page object, those page objects here, if that's how you like it. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a page object that has this header, and we'll start deconstructing. I'm not going to like do the whole thing, but I'll just give you enough of an idea on how to use page objects on your own. So let's switch over to Visual Code here. And again, any questions, please put it in the chat, and I will try to answer them if I can. All right, so let's go over here. Let's create a new test. I think what we would like to do in this test, I'd like to create this header page object and maybe make some things of clicking these links and maybe clicking this logo right here. So maybe, yeah, just have this logo and have this BLM Survival Fund and click these things. I think we can do this. That sounds easy enough. Click this and click this. All right. Or click this donate button. Yeah, the donate button sounds like a good one. So the logo and the donate. That takes you to a whole new page which doesn't have the header. So I think we'll stick with the pages that have the header and not do the donate. All right, so if I just get this logo and this one and this one, I'll be pretty happy. So let's first create a test to start using this. Let's see here. I want to create a new folder. We call it Black Lives Matter. And under this folder, new test, navigate header.js. That'll be my test. let's kick it off. Let's see here. It'll be module.exports equals. And then let's see here. Let's go back to that page. BLM Survival Fund. See, click BLM Survival Fund. Function, browser. Don't think we're going to be doing anything async await, so, but I'll put it anyway. I think I'm just going to, in my own personal testing, I think just async is the way to go on everything. So I might just make all my test functions async await. You don't have to, but man, it makes things so much easier when you're jumping into it. Let me close out all these other tabs so it makes everything look a lot less busier. I think we need this Nightwatch conf up, need this launch.json up, but everything else I think I can close out here. And let's do this like how we would do it without a page object. So first we would navigate to the page. So let's see, browser.url, and we're going to navigate to blacklivesmatter.com. Cool, once that page is there, we're going to click on that Black Lives Matter Survival Fund. Click, and so we need to find what this is right here. So let us inspect this. Boom. A.title. See if there's any ID here. There's no ID. And how about this item type? Nope. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat. I'm going to right click, copy, and copy selector. So we're going to use the CSS selector, which happens with Nightwatch by default, so I don't need to put CSS selector. For some reason, I'm just doing that now each time. So, all right, let's look at this. This is a big, ugly selector right here. You can't tell what it's doing. It's just a big, ugly selector. Now we want to know that we got to the right page. So I think what happens here, if you click on this, I think first the title is going to say Introducing Black Lives Matter Survival Fund, and also this, yeah, the URL is going to be survival-fund, but let's just go with the Black Lives Matter Survival Fund title. And I think, where would the title be? Where would the title be set? That's usually set in the header, right? Header, there's a div in the header. Oh, in the head. There we go. Copy that. So now we're here. We're just going to check that browser dot, let's see, I think it's a get title. So let me look at Nightwatch API here. Go to the API reference. Actually, just use an expect here. Yeah, and just expect API. And we're going to expect like the, let's see, do they have one for the title element? Oh, they don't have one for title. All right. Oh, there they go, right here, title. Browser.title to contain or to match. So let's see, I think, oh, that's a regex to contain. Yeah, we'll do to contain. So browser.expect.title to contain that. And how about this? Browser dot expect. Let's check the header as well. Let's just check something on this page. Introducing the Black Lives. So I think they're both going to be the same text here, but let's find something different then. Funding our own survival. All right. So we can thrive. Let's just make sure this text is here in this H2. Do the same thing as before. Copy the selector. Browser.expect. And let's see. Browser.expect text. Yeah, this is a good one. This will show me we can override this in a page object later. So this to equal, all right, I'm just gonna copy this. Go over here. Oops. I think yeah. Here we go. Here was that evil looking thing to get to that H2. So the third H2 element there. We want this to equal, what was that text on the page? Text right here. Funding our own survival so we can survive. Cool. So what this test should do, if you can read this, we're going to blacklivesmatter.com. We're going to click on this link right here. It's not really obvious what we're clicking on from this. It's just a big long thing of CSS selectors. We're going to expect the title to contain this for this particular page. And then browser.expect, we're going to say, okay, is this header right here, whatever the header this might be, does it say this text? So let's give this test a run. I'm going to copy the relative path of this file. I'm going to go over here to the launch.json. Over here in the args, -- test. And by the way, this is something I've set up previously to be able to, I think I can just use // to boink. Because Node runs on //. So this right here is just a configuration you can set up with Visual Studio to launch your a node thing. In this case, a Nightwatch node. The Nightwatch stuff right here. This with this argument. That's all that is. Yeah, and so we're just making sure we're using the Chrome browser, and the test file we want is this test file. So we're only running this one test. And let's give it a whirl and see if this works. All right, I had this, okay, got some errors here. Chrome version 87, I got this earlier today. I know exactly what this is. So, that error is because they updated Chrome and my Chrome driver is out of date. So let me show you how to fix that real quick. Chrome driver, it's now up to version 88. I'll just put 0 here. So this means everything with 88, this is going to catch that. And then go over here to the terminal and just run npm I again. And that's going to download, version 88 of the Chrome driver. And I can verify that really quick. npx Chrome driver -- version. Should now be up to 88. Before it was at 87, but now it should be at 88. Now let's go back here and try to run this test again. I hit F5. And something isn't happening right, but it got closer. Okay, so what happened here? But got home, Black Lives. Oh. This did not click properly. Element command cannot be cleated because the element is not visible on the page. Element not interactable. So you might just be going a little bit too fast. So is not visible on the page. So maybe we need to do like a browser dot expect dot visible expect dot element, and that would be this element right here. Dot to be visible. And hopefully this waits for it to be visible first and then it'll click it. Though I thought click by default would wait for a bit for something to be visible before trying to click on it. For me, I just did something wrong. Might need to add a pause in there and debug this a little bit more. Oh, I see what's happening. The page isn't big enough, so I need to expand the page to be larger. So I need to like maximize. I gotta maximize the page because it has that hamburger menu if you saw it on the right. So that's what's that's the wrong thing that's happening. So let me just show you what's going on. So right here, everything's working out correct. But if we go to like the responsive view, see this right here, it goes into hamburger mode. But if we set, let's see, iPad Pro, see all the menu items are there. And if we switch it, all the item menus there, switch back. All this is here, but actually, if we just go to responsive mode, whoops, no, go back. Should just be a responsive mode. How do I do that? Show device frame. My brain is shutting off. Why am I? Oh, just go to responsive right here. Okay. So if I go to responsive here, I control the layout. So, see where if it's too small, you get the hamburger menu right here. Then at one point, then you get this menu. So that's what's happening here. So we got to make sure it's in full screen mode for us to work. So there's a few ways of doing this stuff, but what I'm going to do is maximize the window. How you do that? Let's go here to the API reference, API commands, and if we scroll way down here to window related, I think maximize window right here. Maximizes the current window. Browser.maximize window. So let's do this first. Browser.maximize window. Actually, this, I have tests that actually use a global thing that sets up this maximize window for every test. You can also, in the Nightwatch config, you can go down here to the Chrome WebDriver settings, and you can actually set, in the Chrome option, set it to by default be maximized in these desired capabilities. But for right now, I'm just going to show you how to maximize this window. So this will maximize things. Then we can go to the URL. Then we'll check if that thing's visible or not. Which, actually, we don't need this now. because browser.click will check and see if the element is visible and clickable. So it's going to click on that menu item to take us to that one page. And then we're going to check these two elements on that page. Let's try this again. I'm having all the luck today. Browser is not defined. Of course, browser is not defined. There we go. Maximize the page. Whoa, what's this? Whoa, did you see that? I think trying to make sure I'm not doing something funky to their website. I think they're trying to protect themselves from some hackers. Ah, look at that. Good job, Black Lives Matter. Well, that throws things off for me. Makes sense that they wouldn't want people hacking at their site and bringing their site down. So maybe this isn't the best site to use for this test. Sorry, Black Lives Matter. I did not mean to do anything bad to your site. I was just trying to bring traffic to your site, actually. I apologize. I will use a different website. All right. Scratch all that. Let's try something else. If we go to my website, I don't have any protections on my website at all. It is open for complete and total destruction. Okay. Get rid of this responsive mode. Let's see, do I have anything? Yeah, kind of got similar things. Oh, no. Yeah, that header changes. Actually, this header right here stays the same. So we can do similar things to what... Sorry, my website is just a WordPress website I threw together in like an afternoon, so it sucks. So we'll go to my website instead. Boink. actionqa.com. We're going to instead click on, we're going to be home in Action QA, and then we're going to click on About. So let me get this, inspect this. Is that what it is, Dink? There we go, we got this. And we're going to copy the selector. CSS selector. Click that. And then we're going to expect title to contain about-actionqa.com. Can I just copy the title? No. And that'll be in the header right here. Title, yeah. Grab that. And then we're going to expect some header to have some information. So actually, let's see. Let's say we expect the submit button to be right here instead. All right, so let's look at that. And the button's going to say submit. Let's just check that. So copy selector here. So go to this element, which hopefully is not some embed. Let's make sure it's not. No. Cool. It's not an embed. And want the text to equal submit. All right. Hopefully this works. I don't have some anti-hacking stuff installed. All right. Change this title to click about. Maximize the site, clicks about. Uh-oh, what's happening here? It's thinking, and it couldn't find. Oh, it's all capitals. All right. Expect submit to equal. It's case sensitive. There's ways to make it case insensitive, but just for, I'm not going to get into the weeds on this one. Try it one more time. Cool. Test pass. All right. The other one was a better example because everything didn't have unique IDs like this one does. You saw how ugly they were in the previous thing, but they still, you have no idea what this stuff means. So we can make things a lot more useful. So what we're going to do is create a page object. One, we're going to create a page object for this header right here. And then we'll create a page object for just the home page right here. And we'll create a page object for the about page, which contains this stuff, but probably only going to be summing up the submit button. Okay. There's my ugly mug. Ugh, I need a better picture. Whatevs. All right. So let's get into it. So the first thing we need to do, I already got page objects right here. Cool. So we can create a page object. Let's create a new folder. My action QA folder. I'm showing this as an example. Go here to the Nightwatch conf. If you go over here to the top, Nightwatch.js, your page objects path. I already had the page objects thing, but I want to also have this action QA. So copy relative path here, paste that in. And node is okay. It translates everything to forward slashes, so we can do this. So every like subfolder you have under here, you have to create a new entry here in this array of page object paths. So cool, we got that. Now let's switch over to this guy. Oh, actually switch over to action QA, the page objects here. Action QA. And what's the first thing we want to do? Let's create the home page. Yeah, just create home page. New file, home.js. So let's go over here to the developer guide, working with page objects, using page objects. So here's the very super simplistic thing to get started. So module.exports. I'm going to copy this. Go to here. And that is the beginning of a page object. Right now there's no elements in here defined. We're okay with this. And the URL is how we navigate to this particular page. For this one, change this to actionqa.com. You can also make this a function if you need to do more complex processing to navigate to this page. Also, if you don't want to navigate to this page, like if I'm just creating a page object for the header, just don't define this URL. You can just delete it. Don't define it at all. But right now, this is the home page. We want to be able to navigate to the home page. And no elements yet. We'll get to that later. But right now, let's just start with navigation. So right now we have browser.url to navigate to that. So let's comment this out and start putting some things together here. So first thing, const, let's see, home equals browser.page.home. Simple as that. It's just how this file is named. home.js, you just put home minus the .js, and that's how it'll get returned to you. And that's how you name it. You name it the title, the file name is the name of the page object. Cool, so this, we get that page object, and the next thing we want to do is home.navigate. And that should take us to the page, and then run the rest of the test here. So as you see, it uses navigate. You know, the browser uses URL, but page objects use navigate. Always thought that was a little bit confusing, wonky. I don't know why. I don't know why you just can't use URL, home.url. It's just something funky in Nightwatch. So I just roll with it. So home.navigate. And let's see if this works. I'll hit F5. Oh, there it went to Action QA. It worked. All right, now let's see. So that's our first page object right here, but now we got this menu thing, and like you can't really tell what this is. This is just menu item 751. What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. So the advantage of page objects is to make these things mean something. Actually, you can understand and look and debug your code better and make your code more reusable, because people are like, oh, I want to click the About menu. So let me create another page object. Let's go over here and let's call this one header. Header.js. And I'm creating a separate one instead of just adding that into that home page, because the header is probably the same on multiple pages and can be reused by itself. So it's a nice page object to be reused. So page objects are meant to help with reusability of things on your website. So you create a new test that needs to interact with the header, then you just pull in this header object. So let's see here. I just copy pasted this, the module.exports, but we're not going to navigate to the header at all. So what we're really going to want is to define these elements. Very important, these elements. So if we look at the header over here, at about, or we got home, about, and services. And we also have this logo. Just call it the logo. Man, I got to update the site one day. Look how ugly that is. Anyway, so we got home, about, services, and logo. So what we're clicking on here is the about. And before you see that's, click that, click on that, and that is the menu item 751. So if we take that menu item 751, instead say, just call it about. About. And then that'll be the pound, what was that, menu item 751. Let's copy the CSS selector here, so I don't feel like typing. Okay, so we got one element in here. It's called about. So let's see how this works. Now let's go back to the test. So right here, we're going to replace this line right here. Let me just bump up the size of the text a little bit, make it easier on your eyes. So commented out this line. So now const header equals browser.page.header. And then here we're going to go header dot click, and here's the magic, at about. So yeah, whenever you want to reference these elements, you just take the name of the element and tack in at in front of it. So now we got click at about, and you have to be using this. You can't go browser dot click at about because the browser doesn't know. But this dot click, which has a lot of the browser APIs in here, header dot click at about, it should just click that element. Let's see how far we get here. And I just want to prove it to you, so I'm going to pause for a second just so we show that this was actually clicked. So browser.pause for like 5 seconds. All right, so it's going to go to my page, click about. There we are, we're on the about page. It's going to wait 5 seconds, and then it's going to do the rest of the test and end. Cool. So that's the very first thing with come on brain, keep working. That's one quick example using elements. And now let's go over here. We're going to create another page for this, and this is going to be the about page. So let's create another page object here. Page object, action QA, new file, and about.js. And what I got in here, yeah. Now this one, we can actually navigate directly to the about page if we wanted to. So we can actually just go have this URL if we wanted to. URL. So we could just directly navigate to that page using the about.navigate. I'm not going to use it like that for this, but we could. So I'm just putting that in here. And so elements for this about page, we're going to go over here to our test. So the first thing, this doesn't have any elements, but we got this WP form right here. So we can make an element for that. Call it form submit. Oops. And that'll be form submit. So let's bring in this. Const about equals browser dot page dot about. And we can also, I think, use all the stuff. Let me just change this to about, since you can use all the expect calls from your page object as well. And then get rid of this browser here. Instead of this WP forms, we can do at form submit. This should work. Let's run the test and everything should pass. Everything passed. And it gives you this nice little output right here. That's the other thing, is that when you use the page objects, this stuff is a lot easier to read too. But yeah, it's just a nice benefit of using page objects. But here we go. So at form submit, we got this stuff. But you know, what if we just wanted to make sure we're on the right page and we want to do these things? We want a better way to check that we got the right page. Like these are two things that we're going to check for to make sure we're on the right page. So usually you can do something. Actually, how would I like to do this? Sometimes I don't like putting tests in page objects. So if I do that here, it's more to show you. The only time I'd like to put tests into page objects is if you're actually going to reuse that test. So there's my personal philosophy of page objects is to just have reusable methods, reusable code, and then have your tests themselves do like the actual testing of things like this. This would be a test. But again, it comes down to like how you're using this stuff. So I'm not making too much sense here, but it's all about reusability, and you don't want to clutter up. When you get over here to the about page, and you can create a whole bunch of methods here that do a whole bunch of wonky stuff. So let's, in the last 13 minutes here, let's do something that's a reusable thing, which would be to fill out this form and submit it. So cool, we do these tests here. That's fine. Let's add a submit form. So click about maybe a new test here. Let's call this one, what is that form on the about page? Submit. Or let's see, submit contact me form on about page. Async function browser. And we're basically going to do the same setup again. Except not these two tests. How about, boom, here. And what we're going to want to do is go down here, put your first name, last name, your email, and your comment, and then hit submit. So let's do this. So first thing we're going to want to do is go to this about. We got a form. So we got the submit button. And that might be a better name for this, actually. Submit button. Let's see. Maybe first name. What that's going to be. Last name. Email. And message. And you know what? I don't even need to have button here. Just submit. It means I need to change the first test here. Not be form submit. Oh, yeah. Instead, just be at submit. We'll get rid of this stuff too. Doink. And doink. Cool, clean things up a little bit. Now let's go back to this. So we got all this stuff. Let's go over to the page and get all the CSS selectors here. Click there. Copy the selector for first name. Is that right? Okay. Copy the selector for last name. Email. And finally, the message. Copy the selector. Cool, we could just use these elements directly in here and just call out, just like we did like the click add about or whatnot, and just put all the little at things here and fill things out directly and then click submit just using this. But why not make our lives easier? Let's create a custom command. So there's a few ways of doing this, but let's do like const custom commands equals, and you just put a little object there, and let's see, what's the first function? Let's call it fill fill form. Fill and submit form. There we go. Let's do it all. And this will be function, async function. You don't pass anything into it because page objects, this element has all the information you need from the browser object, so you don't need to add anything there. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill out the first name. Actually, so we want to pass in some parameters here. So first name, first, last, email, and message. And these are just parameters. These are what we're going to send to these elements. So let's do this. Let's first things first, we're going to use the set value method on all of these. So let's see here, it's going to be this dot set value at first name, and we're going to pass in the parameter first. This dot set value at last name. Again, this corresponds to the element down here. And then the parameter last. I think you see where I'm going with this. Set value at email. And this dot set value at message. Cool. And then finally, submit the form. This dot click at submit. So probably just for so we can see what happens, I'm going to put a little pause right here. So I think this dot pause for what? 5 seconds. Actually, I'm just going to do little 1-second pauses between each of these guys. There. Do that, and that. Okay. So that way you just get to see this a little bit better. Otherwise, it'll happen really quickly and then hit that submit form. And it'll go by too fast. So now we got this custom command, but now we need to tell this guy how to use commands. And I think, go over here to the developer guide, working with page objects. Down here, page-specific custom commands. Over here, you'll see you have to have a little commands section and an array. So let's go ahead and do that. Add the commands field. And the array is going to point to a pointer to this guy. So we got custom commands defined up here. Custom commands. And it's cool, it's an array, because you can have multiple things. Like this could be your custom commands, but you know what? You could have a bunch of verification methods, and you can have a different object for all the verification methods. You could also have just different types of things here. So just a way to grouping your custom commands. So I'm just calling this one custom commands. You can call it whatever you want, and then just pass it to this array here. So that should do it for, whoop, did I accidentally close that? Oops, there we go. All right, so we got that, custom commands, and now we can go over here. We're on the about page. So about.fill and submit form. I think that's what I called it. Fill and submit form. All right. And over here, we're going to have, my name is Chris Jackson, foo@bar.com. You're not getting my email. Y'all crazy kids. You're not getting it. And then, lastly is the message, which is, you need more sleep for these live streams. Dude. All right. So there we go. About, fill and submit form. And hopefully I have some pauses in there. Fingers crossed this is going to work. Chris Jackson, email, comment, and sending. And it sent, it worked, it did it. And that is going to do it right at the hour mark. I am right there. So yeah, that's this is where the power comes in, because this is so much easier to read. The about page, fill and submit form. That is way easier to read than you like going, you know, trying to use all these different selectors here. Like this doesn't tell you that it's the first name or last name. This has a little thing called last, but just reading this stuff, you're like, what does this stuff mean? You know, and then just doing this like makes it so much easier to deal with. Like, so you don't have to do this every time now. If you need to like do a whole bunch of form testing, you now have this easy to use thing. You can like put any element in here that you want to and fill out the form and then submit it and, you know, see what happens. So you hit that submit, you know, maybe after that you check to see if there's an error message instead because you put stuff in wrong, or who knows. But, you know, you can expand on this. Or, you know, there's my test, I always have to log in the website with a known test user every time. So having a reusable like login method is awesome. And yeah, so this is just a way to reuse things, makes it easy to debug because it's much easier to read. Hey, you know, navigate to the home page, click the about in the header, fill and submit a form. Really easy to read. And that's it. There's a ton more things you can do with page objects. There's a lot of stuff you can do with like the elements. There's also things with sections. I'm not going to get into that now, but you can also access these individual elements to get the selectors if you need to like put the selector and add it to a different method outside of your page object. And you need to feed it the selector. You can get at that stuff too. And that's where this API reference kind of gives you some info on the instance. You can go like that page object and then like click elements, and the elements dot like whatever like was that first name was one of them. Elements dot first name will give you dot first name dot selector, and that'll give you some information. But yep, this is some more information on the properties there. You can even set your own props. This is useful too. Tell you to keep an eye on it. You can set your own props. That means you can add different hard-coded values into your page object yourself. So like up here was saying, oh, expected, or like in this test before, like about action QA, we could like move those things into the props and just make sure like the text here for submit and about action QA, this stuff. So we can just move that into the props and we can check those props and keep it everything about this in this page objects file and access it really easily. Probably be getting that into the course that I'm creating for this stuff, so keep an eye out for that. But I am done for right now. Thank you for watching, if you were watching. Don't see any questions, so that's good because I wasn't looking at the questions. I need to have something that like pops up and lets me know questions are going to happen. But please, thank you for watching. I know we were just looking at this website a lot. Go here, actionqa.com, pop in your email address, subscribe, go to my Udemy courses. Got 2 courses for you. And let me log in. Nope. That's because I'm on. Get a new window going here. Yep, go to Udemy. And got my profile here. I got 2 courses for you. This one's free, Nightwatch.js Quick Start Guide. Free course. You can get it done in under an hour, or actually about an hour, and get you up and running with Nightwatch. Then I got a more in-depth course here for beginners, web automation testing for beginners using Nightwatch. Unfortunately, it doesn't get into the page object stuff we covered today. That's a new course I'm working on that's going to go deep into Nightwatch. But this web automation testing for beginners is enough to get you working with Nightwatch and start being productive at work writing test automation. Okay, that's me. Thank you for dealing with the tech difficulties you can't quite see happening around me right now as little panels are falling off my wall and my green screen's being wonky. Thank you. You're awesome. Keep going out there, keep testing, and see you next week. Yeah, please drop me some questions on my Twitter page at ActionQA. All right, take care. Bye.